Hey, what's up, everybody? Back here with another video, and today we have a very, very, very special guest. Really, guy has a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and I think you guys really need to hear this man's message. He's become a really great friend of mine since we have connected not so long ago, and I think I think this is gonna I think this is really going to reach exactly who it needs to and really maybe put some pieces or missing pieces of your puzzle together in your life. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Kilelle of Kunami Codes. Good to have you on, brother. Good to have you on. How you doing today?
I am wonderful, brother. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I am thankful to be here to talk with you, to speak to your viewers. Love, peace, and power to everybody within the sound of my voice. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, we're bringing this thing in strong, powerful, and wouldn't have it any other way.
We are going into this dragon year, this dragon season, and it's already powerful. I'm looking around. It's already been a busy day. Um, to see everything that's actually transpiring in the world um, that I've been able to catch has been incredible. And it's right in tune with the energy of the day. Today is the Joker's card in cardology, which is one of the craziest days energetically of the year. One of the first things I woke up to, um, I saw TD Jakes. For anybody who may be familiar, he's a Christian preacher who's been recently caught up in some turmoil with P Diddy or Puff Daddy or whatever he calls himself, and he had a service, I believe, today. And as opposed to the thousands that fill that giant church, there were barely a dozen. And that's you're going to see a lot more of that in this eight dragon year. You're going to see a lot of energetic reversals. You're going to see a lot of new holidays pop up. You're going to see a lot of new um, portals in time coming through, going back to that 2012 and that 2000 Y2J and Mayan calendar kind of energy. Is going to be incredibly brilliant to watch.
Wow. Yeah, it's it's definitely going to be quite a show. That's for sure. Um, I know it's kind of funny actually. Earlier, when you had told me it's a Joker Day, I didn't ask, but I looked it up and started doing a little digging on it and everything like that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, now I understand. Now I understand what he was saying. Um, Again, you have a wealth of knowledge, and it's just awesome to be able to really communicate, with people that have wisdom in areas that we don't, and that's how we expand our knowledge base, right? Is by connecting with others and vibing out, and really just having a good time. And we definitely, I know everybody definitely appreciates your wisdom and knowledge, brother. You definitely have a lot of it, and I know there's a lot of stuff that you can share with the world that can help people too. So that's pretty amazing in itself.
Well, thank you very, very much for that. More than anything, I've always wanted to know. Um, I've had this burning curiosity to just know everything that I possibly could. And that's why history became my favorite subject, because true history, you have to study everything. We're not just talking about dates and wars and pillages and things of that nature. We're talking about agriculture. We're talking about music. We're talking about clothing. We're talking about calendars. We're talking about mathematical systems. And then you start to find this interconnectedness that nobody talks about. And that exists in every form of what we like to call human relation, especially religion.
Yeah.
So, it's so easy to be separated by what we view as differences, but that's where the real magic is, in the contradiction. Um, I've gotten to a place where I appreciate contradiction and I actually look for it, as opposed to being turned away or disgusted or taking offense, because we know, just think about that adage. Offense has to be taken. You know what I mean? You can't give it away. It has to, it's a choice that people make. So going back to this idea of this 47, this Joker card, this leg by energy, going with the highest aspect of that is about universal knowledge and universal truths, things that could be argued, but why would you? Because this brings an aspect of the ego into it, as opposed to the benefit of all kind of perspective.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's it's definitely powerful. Like, so let me ask you this: you touched on we're going into a dragon year, and all these things that are going to happen. Next year obviously equals to 8. Um, to you, what does that mean? And all your wisdom and knowledge that you've learned over the years, what does it being an 8 year, and it what does an 8 year mean, and the dragon year?
Well, the 8 year is, we're talking about karma. We're talking about magnetism. We're talking about reaping what we sow. We're talking about what goes around comes around. We're going to see that universally. Some people are instantaneously giving out karma for things that they may do. Some people have almost like a blanket protection. There's an old adage where it says, God takes care of babies and fools. There will be a leveled playing field. Now, for those who have been paying attention, we could say conscious people, we could say specialists, we could say doctors, we could say empaths, people who are just tuned in on one way or another. We know exactly what has been going on in the world. To a large degree, that's what this whole idea of consciousness is, trying to make people more aware, trying to raise the consciousness. You're going to see that happen automatically. I like to use the word automagically, right? Because spirit is always talking, it's always whispering, it's always speaking monotone. It's not necessarily always screaming. There's going to be some dragon roars this coming year. Um, the dragon is the physical embodiment of the phoenix, or the spirit, right? If we think about this idea of light, this astral realm, this realm of pure intent and power, it's very beautiful. That's this idea of the celestial or the heavens. But when that aspect comes to earth, it is ugly. It is physical. It is all that. Imagine all the energy being trapped, right? That's essentially what incarnation is, in the form of a dragon that can be very ugly and very scary. to a lot of people, but to a lot of people, that's going to look very cool and extremely powerful. So, there's going to be a lot of that shifting throughout the course of the year. The dragon is the one animal that is universal in all cultures around the world. We have to think about that. You know, we can argue about the dinosaurs. I would argue that the dinosaurs are actually dragons, and they just switched the names out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely makes sense. I know, there's definitely a lot of controversy about the dinosaurs and dragons and things like that. But tell you what, we're not gonna definitely not gonna be able to negotiate how the year's gonna go. That's for sure. It's uh, it's definitely gonna be an interesting year. I'm pretty excited. Um, Me personally, in my personal opinion, which could mean something, could not. I mean, let's see what happens. But I believe that for the people, for the people that have been putting in the work the last couple of years or few years, whatever the case may be, um, I really do believe that those people are gonna reap those rewards. Um, and, there's other people that have turned a blind eye to these things, and they're not gonna have a choice but to see exactly what they were trying to keep their head in the sand from this whole entire time, um, which could be pretty interesting and exciting all at the same time, right?
Anytime justice is given out divinely, it is truly a sight to see. It's only going to be ugly to those who stand to feel that wrath themselves due to their own actions. Those who have been oppressed, those who have been under that energetic yoke, they're going to be very joyous about that, whether they see it happen or not. And that's the beautiful thing about energy. You don't necessarily even have to see it. I really wouldn't want to see some of this vindication coming down because it will be, whew, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. And if you guys haven't, we haven't really touched into it yet, but Khalil is he's like a numerology specialist. Okay, um, the man is exceptionally well at what he does, and he's just like myself when it comes in the regards of always he has that hunger to learn. Um, and it's pretty awesome to see because I don't believe there's many people that actually have that. I don't believe that there's um, a lot of people that really just have that thirst for knowledge and wisdom on in every aspect or perspective, right? Um, I've kind of been like that my whole entire life, and I'm sure you can kind of say the same thing where we'll get to a point, like for me personally, I'll get to a certain point to where I know everything I want to know about something, and then it's on to something else, right? It's on to the next, and something always pops up that I want to learn.
Well, I can definitely attest to that. I can definitely agree with that. It's numerology makes things a little bit easier for me. Um, Numbers kind of run in my family a little bit. Um, but information, I've always eaten it up like it was the greatest fruit you've ever had. Um, I've learned more by re-examining things that I thought I knew. Um, because when we think we know something, there's always so much more. One of the very first things I realized in my pursuit of knowing things, I used to walk around as a child 4, 5, 6 years old with list of questions in my pocket. And I wouldn't ask anyone because I learned very quickly that when you ask adults too many questions, especially about religion and money and things children aren't really supposed to be focused on, they're going to look at you crazy. And a lot of adults just don't know. Especially in my day, I was born in 1980. I just turned 43, and I still feel 23. It's
That's
it's
amazing.
it's it is. It really really is. I couldn't be more thankful. But I see how technology has changed the information game. It's made it better for people like me because I will take information any way I can get it. It's very easy for me at this point to remove the message from the messenger if need be, because based upon who says something these days, it's a it's a it's become a popularity contest, especially with social media and YouTube and different platforms where information is so readily available as opposed to just taking the information. It has to be given in this entertaining way. Um, and that is repelling to a lot of people, myself included, for a lot of reasons. People enjoy hearing me speak because I know a little bit about a little bit, and perhaps my voice may have something to do with it. But I can't allow myself to feed into that ego, because if that was the case, you would be able to catch me every day somewhere talking, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to learn. On
Right.
occasion, I love to teach. I love to share what I know. I do that for free. I don't need a check to do that. It would be nice, but it's not going to change or stop me from doing it. You know, um, I want that to forever remain evident, blatantly evident to see. I want to always be the change I want to see in this world, as opposed to looking for it outside of myself.
And that's perfect. And that's perfect. Like, yeah, definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And that's the thing, too. A lot of people, um, we're not a lot of people, right? We're definitely a whole different breed. And that's what makes things extra special, because a lot of people, we're just different, and that's perfectly fine. And a lot of people may understand, a lot of people may not understand, and that's okay too. Um, they'll understand exactly when they need to, right? Um, I'm the same way with a lot of different things as well. Um, you know, I also do other things outside of spiritual things as well. I kind of dabble in markets and things like that as well. Um, you, I did teach that kind of stuff, but I've been called to kind of move on, right? So that's why I created this channel this year. In my year, on top of it, in the year of the rabbit, and I give people pretty much to the end of Q1 of 2024. And then, on that side of things, my videos are going to be extremely scarce. I'm still going to connect with the people that I've met along the journey over there on that side of things. And always going to have the group and everything. But I've definitely heard the call that I need to be focused more in the spiritual aspect of things and the healing and everything else. And so I totally get what you mean. And that's what this channel is all about. It's really about the journey, you know? And really putting on things on this channel that people can relate to. Maybe they won't be able to relate to. Maybe people 10 years from now would be able to relate, right? And not relate now. But hey, it's on the internet, it's out there, and it'll find them or whoever just when it's supposed to. That's kind of how I see this thing. I don't want to be. I'm not starting this channel to become a huge YouTuber, anything like that. In fact, I really don't like to be in the spotlight like that. Um, Maybe every now and then is okay, but not like I don't want a million subscribers or a few 100,000 subscribers. I think things get a little more difficult and complicated whenever you start getting that many people, you know?
Everybody, wants to be a rock star to one degree or another. Um, that's very, very understandable. I completely um second your sentiment. Um, the last thing I could care about is being popular. I've never ever cared about being popular, and you know, I can argue that because I know my chart, I know my numbers very well.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been the case. I kind of built myself that way. But I got to give a shout out to my crew. I'm one third of the Ronin experience, and the one thing we don't try to do is be popular. The more we speak our truths, the more resonance we actually get. And the more we actually attract. Shout out to Mystic Ronin, shout out to Moon Feather Rising, Wednesdays at 8 on YouTube. And you can catch the Ronin Experience Fridays at 9. And we're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. My own channel is already in existence, but like you, it's been very scarce. Largely because I'm busy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've been so satisfied. I've had more fun in the last 2 years, officially reading people in the manner that I do than I've had in my entire life. I've
Yeah.
had more positive feedback, more international um, family coming to the table. Shout out to the Bush Whisperer, Franklin. Um, Such proof and confirmation of things that I was told and shown and seen in my youth that I never would have thought would have come to pass. And we're going to see a lot more of that. So, people, a large part of what I mean when I say being the change we want to see, I wish I had someone like you, like me, like Moonfeather, like Rona, like Franklin, when we were young, right? When
Yep.
we were first starting to come into this, who already knew. Imagine if your parents knew your
Yeah.
numbers. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
at best, the majority of our parents, oh, okay, he's a Capricorn, he's a Cancer, he's a Gemini, he's an Aries, he's an Aquarius. Okay, cool. We'll put it all over his or her bedroom walls and maybe their book bag, and okay, here's some Sesame Street, and there you go. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. That was the best some of our parents could do, and we gotta love them for it and accept it. However, can you imagine had they known? Oh, wait a minute, you're really gonna like this, and you actually had a past life over here, and you're gonna like this kind of girl. You're gonna like this kind of boy. Ah, imagine saying all of that beforehand.
Yeah.
Right? You
Well,
can't you can't change it. It's not about changing it, but it's about being able to adapt and give the child what they actually need because the parent doesn't teach the child how to be the child teaches the parent how to be a parent,
right.
right? We have to know them to know what they need or what they don't. What's going to help them grow, what's going to help them cultivate and bloom as opposed to recede in on itself or question its power, question its place in the world, right?
Yep.
It makes things a little bit easier. It makes things a little bit better, that knowing, but you have to want to know. So this is why we do what we do in being our most authentic selves for the greater good.
Yes.
And that's there is no hopefully that comes across. That's going to come across, and it's going to come across to exactly who it needs to, because here in this realm of the occult, there's a level of footwork that has to be done. Nothing is really just given, but you'd be surprised what's given if you are genuine and you only ask, because help must be given when asked for.
Most definitely. I I couldn't agree more. It's definitely really interesting. Like I actually, just so you guys know, Khalil actually did my grimoire as well, and very extensive, very thorough. Loved every minute of it. We went over, sat down, talked about it for quite a while. I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, which was pretty awesome. Explained everything extremely thorough, which is awesome. Um, I've dabbled in certain things before when it comes to numerology and things like that, and gematria and things like that, but he was really able to explain it on a deeper level, which was really awesome. And uh, it was funny because you know when we were going over that, basically confirmed everything that was already kind of in motion of happening at the moment anyway, which is really awesome. Um, is definitely a blessing, and I definitely would recommend if you guys are thirsty for the knowledge and want to know and get to know yourself potentially on a deeper level and even from different perspectives potentially, I would definitely recommend it. And like you said, if we had people like this in our life growing up, like our parents and things like that, that would have been able to help us and guide us through all these things, it would have made the transition a lot faster. And definitely can only imagine the progress that would have been made from then till now, right? Like for me, um, I started dabbling in this stuff just a couple of years ago, here and there, with other things, and but you know, finding deeper understanding. I'm now 36, which is it's not old. I don't feel old at all. Like you said, Khalil, you said you're 43, but you feel 23. I can totally agree with that. Like I think from now on too, I'm gonna be 36 forever because it doesn't really matter. Um, it's all how you feel, and not only that, but I think the age thing is really a spell that they kind of put on us to make us accept that accept that number, right? Accept that age and accept that deterioration and things like that, right? Like if that makes sense. But yeah, I really that's kind of how I feel about that.
Well, definitely, it can be seen that way. I have to be careful with my words because I am much more of a Gnostic than most people. Life is meant to be lived,
Right.
and it takes a lot of work to get to a point of recognition for most people, not all, because some of us are born open, some of us are born remembering our past lives and remembering certain things, certain truths, universal truths and natural law. For others, it takes a lot more work, a lot more experience, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it's about what we want to know. Everybody's here to do what they're here to do. So it's not about waking someone up. You know, this whole idea of waking someone up and being woke, they have weaponized that word and made it trendy so it can move along and something else can come along and take its place.
Right.
There's nothing powerful about being woke or being conscious. Why is that? How can I prove that? If you're laying in your bed looking up at the ceiling and you're awakened or you're conscious, what are you doing? Right? You're looking at the
Right.
ceiling. What does that mean? Oh, I'm conscious. I'm woke. I don't care. You're not telling me anything. I'm feeding the children. I'm spreading awareness about breast cancer. Whatever you're doing, there is no right or wrong, but do something as opposed to just tell me I'm this or I'm that. It's a waste of breath,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
if you open your door and scream, I'm doing this. So someone's going to tell you to shut up. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to you just doing what you're doing
Right.
and, moving with the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of um, aspects to what it is that could be done. I think life thrives in the gray area. When you're trying to make it black or white, you're excluding something. And you're cutting yourself off from a whole realm of possibility, and that's up, down, left, right, black, white, this pillar or that pillar. You need both. You need something to play off of. One tower, the whole idea of a two-party system is, they can lean on each other, right? As opposed to one just being easily blown over. You have this natural resistance you can just lean against. You don't have to worry about going anywhere. But that plays and shows you this whole idea of duality that we actually live
Yes. And that's where you know, that's where a lot of and that's where that whole thing no right or wrong kind of comes from, because there really truly isn't. Because sure, we see all, let's just get into the stuff, I guess, about the things that people talk about every day that they see on TV, all these other things, right? But what people fail to realize is if there wasn't any darkness, then they wouldn't be able to see the light. And if there wasn't any light, they wouldn't be able to see it was darkness. You wouldn't even be able to tell the difference, right? So it's really important. Both sides play a tremendous role in each other. that's why, um, that's why, like for me personally now, I really don't see anything when it comes to the ways of the world, or anything like that, good or bad. I mean, yeah, sure, some things kind of they sound a certain way, but it's for a purpose, and it's for a higher purpose. It's not, and I know that may sound messed up to a lot of people, but it's true. Like there's so many things that happen on a daily basis that had no choice but to happen. That's why they did happen, right? And when I feel like whenever you can finally really realize that and understand that, you can block out the noise of the world and really truly tune into what your job, right? Or what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to focus on. Like, yeah, that's pretty much kind of where I'm at with everything. Like I really I'll I don't even watch the news, but whatever needs to absolutely find me, it does. It actually does, which is really funny. Um, and for anybody that's listening to this show, I really challenge you to do the same. Turn off the TV for like 30 days and just see what happens. And and you can really just look through your own two eyes of what you see, right? And to me personally, that will actually tell you a lot of where you are in your journey as well. Because there's a lot of people that could, like, let's just say I let somebody borrow my eyes for the day, right? Um, they're going to see things differently than I do. Every time. Doesn't matter who it is. They're going to see things differently. And that's also a beautiful thing too, because then you can actually see things from multiple perspectives. And I think that's really important as well. Um, is being able to see things from multiple perspectives and not get stuck in, oh, this is the only way. This is the only way to do this, and that's it, and boom, done, right? No, there's always a million ways to do one thing. Um, and it all leads us back to there's no right or wrong, right? It's like one big circle. I hope that made sense. Sometimes I'm not the greatest at explaining things, sometimes, but hopefully it all made sense to everybody that's listening.
No, bro, that made tons of sense. That made tons of sense. That was a brilliant way to put it. Um, you need soft eyes. You need a new way of looking at things. We all do. And this is like the whole idea of being born in this current paradigm, no matter what your religion is. This part of the world is going to say you're this part of the world is going to say you're that. And there's a reason behind both. And it doesn't mean that one is right or one is wrong. They're both right, right? If you can think it in this realm, it exists. It wouldn't work otherwise. So you need that contrast. If you were standing in a room that was all white, you couldn't see anything. If you were
Right.
standing in a room that was all black, you couldn't see anything. You need contrast. You need both. You need that light and shadow. If every day was a rainy day, what's a rainy day, right? But
Exactly.
we said we love sunny days. Well, we gotta love rainy days too, because it's the
Yes.
rainy days that actually makes the earth grow. If it's sunny every day, it's gonna be barren,
Yeah.
right? We
Yes.
have to have polarity. We live in polarity. We got one mouth, two ears and two eyes, two hands. You want to start experiencing doing things in the opposite way. Try writing with your other hand. Some people are ambidextrous. What does that mean spiritually? We're showing ourselves things. We only need to pay attention. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. I was born left-handed. And I remember, and I went to private school. They tried to break. They did everything they could to break me of that. My mother paid for this. My mother was left-handed. Right? She was so thrilled that I was left-handed, but then these people tried to take that away,
Wow.
and she didn't want to go against it, even though she would rather them not. But then she would be ostracized.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? Like there's so many levels now. That's not even. I don't know. Is that still a thing today? You know what I mean? It
Well,
depends on.
it's
Go
really
ahead.
funny that you mentioned that actually, because actually, as we were talking to my grimoire, I was telling you that in sports, I was ambidextrous, right? Um, so it did actually, I did explore writing with my left hand. Obviously, at first, it wasn't as good, but same. They all nope. You need to write with this hand, and that's it, right? And yeah, so that's actually really interesting that you mentioned that, because now it makes me go back and kind of revisit that time and period where hmm, wow, that's that's really cool that you mentioned that actually. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, that right there is what we're after. That's what it's all about. Live and direct. Everyone just got a chance to witness it. Those moments of self realization. That's what we're in this for, because that brings us closer and closer and closer to our center and to our core. And we usually have to go through our inner child to get there, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where we received our most uh, training and the most trauma, because that's where our personality emerged. You know,
Yeah.
um, if you think about writing with either hand and not necessarily being able to write with the other, once you begin to practice writing with that other hand, you're not going to recognize the writing, right? Because it's new, you're using a new skill, but that's still you. So really think about that. Like you're going into an aspect of you that is completely unknown. Yet
Yep.
it there it is, it exists. It's so easily and simply displayed. But this is the beginning of the work. This is the beginning of understanding who we are in our shadow, so we can fully reach our potential. We can truly reach that apex.
Yes. And I definitely am here to do that. 1000%. Let's go. That's for sure. Um, yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty amazing. So, yeah, everybody should and that's what's actually cool. Even isolating your own energy too, I found. I know, and I know this might sound kind of interesting or whatever, but when you isolate yourself from the entire world for a period of time to really get to know yourself on a deeper level, that shit's powerful. That shit is powerful. Um, because then you get to understand your own energy too, and being in your own energy and what it's like to be in just your energy, right? Because even as we walk around here daily, we may not physically bump into people, but our auras are. Our auras and our energetic fields are totally mixing and meshing with other people, even if there is no physical contact. And that's why, well, let me not just get too far off a topic quite yet, but whenever you can sit there and feel what it's truly like to be in your own energy, that is powerful for many reasons, because you can immediately realize something that does not belong to you, which is amazing. And you like literally immediately, like maybe a thought, maybe a feeling, maybe something you're just kind of noticing that isn't really right, you immediately recognize those things and you can fix the problem through many different avenues. But one, maybe just cleansing yourself with like sage, palo santo, whatever, right? Whatever your flavor is, right? There's many ways to accomplish the same thing. um, so yeah.
Being able to identify the source of something, being able to know which thoughts are ours as opposed to someone else's, or perhaps even an invasion or some kind of attack, is imperative. You look around at the level of people who can't allow themselves to entertain a thought, and then that creates a certain behavior, a certain characteristic trait that's usually opposed to new thoughts or new ideas. And that what it ultimately turns into is an inability to think, to the point to where people get headaches and people get aggressive when you introduce new things to them, because it forces them to do something that they have not been doing. If you don't use it, it will atrophy, right? Like the brain is the first to go. When you look at Egyptian mummification, the brain was the first thing they took out, and they didn't save it; they threw it away. Everything else they put in a jar and kept. You know what I mean? Like we have to examine these things. But like, what's actually being said here? We're ultimately talking about the ego. Everything that you think exists. But when you look into the laws of Ma'at, which begins saying things like, I was never here, I've never done this, I've never done that, I've never done. Well, you were never here. You see, like the game is over. And that's where video games actually come in. You know, this whole notion of virtual reality and the simulation. Everybody's telling you the same story, but the levels in which people are invested, that's ultimately where the work is.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. That some pretty. Hope you guys are paying attention. 'Cause there's a lot of powerful stuff in this video. I believe that can help a lot of people, or at least lead them to a rabbit hole, right? And that leads them to potentially many rabbit holes, which is awesome. Um, but at the core of it all, self discovery is amazing, and so is numerology. And it can help you on your path of self discovery as well, which is truly amazing. I mean, let's face it, guys. The families that really run this place, whatever you want to call it, or think they run the place, or what have you, or trying to run the place, whatever, um, yeah, they know all this stuff too, and they play it to the highest level. So, and that's why they are where they are, because they teach their future generations these things, and it's really key for us to do the same. Um, if you want, let me just put that out there. If you want, you don't have to. You can do anything you want to. But it's just a tool. It's another tool in the toolbox of life that can really change things for your experience, right? So that's kind of
Numerology is the first language. And it's one of three. There are three universal languages: numerology, music, and sex. Right? You don't need any words for any of them. But when you add the words, that's when you find your own depth perception, so to speak. Numerology is based on femininity because we're dealing with counting, and the idea of counting comes from a woman's cycle. So we need to always keep that first primary and paramount. Um, and this is why largely the world operates in the way that it does. Tomorrow is Moon Day, right? Moon Day is representative of the feminine energy, um, which is why it starts off the work week, right? And this is why most people, especially here in the West, don't like Mondays. But what does that translate to? Not liking women, right? This whole idea of equality and feminism. And I don't want to go off on a complete tangent, but I want always want to give reverence to the feminine. This is where this comes from. So now juxtapose that next to this whole idea of why does no one in the world like math? It begins to make sense now because these aspects were removed holistically from math. Calculus has a very specific purpose. Algebra has a very specific purpose. Trigonometry, all of these things play into sacred geometry. All of these things play into a cyclical system. So now we can begin to predict things. Now we can see a cycle. We can know how things act and react. And ultimately, this is what we're talking about. So, what happens when you introduce spirit into this equation? What happens when we use crystals and other spiritual tools? Crystals can be programmed. Hmm. Spirits can be programmed. Wait a minute. Can you program your mind to create your reality? Yes. If you don't do it, guess what? The television will do it for you. Perhaps the radio. perhaps somebody you bump into at the post office or the supermarket. It will be done. The choice is either you do it for yourself or the world will do it for you. And you can get mad at the world once you realize that. And this goes back to this idea of being woke. Because if you wake me up before my alarm goes off, I'm going to be angry. I would imagine the same would be true to you if you have an alarm. But we're talking about spiritual alarm clocks, right? So, a lot of people want to wake people up. To each their own. But understand that you're looking for resistance. You're looking for opposition. You're looking for that explosive emotional reaction. And that can be a very dangerous thing, especially going into this dragon year. So that's just a caution I would like to give out for anyone who feels like they're accomplishing something by forcing someone to wake up. You are not.
And that really, that's truly powerful in itself too, because I think that's like a really common thing right now, is where people are like, oh, but we gotta wake them up. It's like, no, we don't. They're gonna find out exactly when they need to. In fact, I almost kind of believe that it's a stage or a phase that we all go through at one point, of feeling like we have to, the whole entire world has to know, and we got to open their eyes, right? I feel like it's a stage of this whole entire process, because I've seen countless people in that stage, and have evolved and moved on from that. Like me personally, that was that was me. That was me a long time ago. Which, again, I haven't really told my story quite yet. Obviously, it's a long one, just like everybody else's. But just a kind of little quick story short, right? Long story short, but anyways, from a young age, I was aware of all the nonsense that everybody's seeing right now, right? And I knew something wasn't right. But it wasn't until spiritually that I realized things, until about 4 to 5 years ago. Um, so I feel like it's a stage. I really do. I feel like it's a stage. Not that it really you know takes people that long or whatever, but I feel like it's a stage in people's evolution, where those things are concerned. I feel like it's just a part of the process, where when you start finding out these things, you feel like you have to share them with everybody, and you feel like everybody should know, and you feel like you're responsible now to pull everybody's head out of the sand, right? When you're not. But that's also up to people to find out for themselves, and they will, exactly when they're supposed to. There's you can plant little seeds and keep walking. Like, that's kind of what I do now. I don't even talk about the world stuff at all, really. I talk more spiritual things, um, but I don't even push that, because for me, I can be in a room with people from every different kind of religion and get along with every last one of them, because I'm not hung up on the right or wrong with religion and stuff like that. Like, somebody could believe in a piece of paper. Hey man, that's up to you. That's on you, right? That must be your path, right? And I respect it. So I'm cool with it. Um, we're really not supposed. I don't like the judgment kind of thing, and that thing kind of goes back to, when people want to judge one another if they're right or wrong. It again, like we just discussed. There's no right or wrong, and the only reason why people feel that they have to do that is because it's a lack of understanding. Um, and then once they can actually accept that, then there wouldn't be any judgment. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of went off on a little tangent there. I think I got off topic a little bit, but that's okay. But yeah,
Nah, nah, that's all the topic. That all needs to be said. You know what I mean? Like people, it's so easy to slip into an outfit. It's so easy to slip into a role. It's so easy to slip into a frequency. We ultimately have to ask, what is being served? Who's going to benefit from this? Um, when people can get to that level of awareness, we'll all be, that much to the better. But that's ultimately what we're trying to do. It's not about forcing anything on anyone. It's ultimately about accepting people as they are. So many people, especially in this day and age, are so traumatized. We've been through the ringer collectively in the last 4 years. I think about all the people who have actually think about this. Because this is something we don't truly acknowledge. So many things are trendy and conscious and woke and all of these different kind of things and spirituality. Think about the level, think about the Stargate we actually jumped through when COVID first started till now. It's been 4 years. You know, the level of awareness has gone up tremendously, and a lot of people have gone crazy. A lot of people have not made it. A lot of people woke up and couldn't deal with this knowledge. A lot of people went back to sleep. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people went back to Jesus. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. All of that is needed because all of that serves as a precursor and a warning to those who are paying attention who you ain't even acknowledged. Right? There's a level of people. Someone's always paying attention. You'd be amazed, you know? I'm so thankful for the people I've been able to reach, whether it be a reading or whether it just be a post or a comment or a share. People send me things all day, every day, and I can't thank them enough because people ultimately have to choose to take what they need. They have to choose to take this and try it. They have to choose to take this and expand upon that. What does this mean to me? And filter yourself through it and vice versa. So, it's going to success looks differently to everybody. In the same way, everybody has their own form of depression, their own form of victory, their own form of loss. Victory never taught anybody anything. I'll argue that. You know what I mean? Maybe you learned another way to win, but when you lose, you have to examine everything.
and that
So
yes, yes.
what
Go ahead.
what does
Sorry.
this mean spiritually? How does that translate spiritually? Because ultimately, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about what is eternal, as opposed to just stuck here in this one moment.
Yes, and you know, from my personal experiences, I can definitely relate to just that. You know, you don't literally learn anything from winning all the time. Losing is when that's when the life changing stuff happens. If you accept that, right? And you're willing to accept that and you're willing to examine those losses like you were saying, that's when the real wisdom and transformation comes from. And I can just say that just from personal experiences, right? Um, yeah. So I'm totally. I mean, honestly, I can sit back and think some of the hardest things I've ever been through in my entire experience here. I've learned the most from. I've learned the most from, and honestly, I can actually say it's been the biggest blessing for me personally. But again, it's all about perspective too, you know?
Well, that's exactly how it works. We and that's there's some very powerful terms that are getting thrown around. as they should, because if that wasn't spiritual, that wouldn't be the case either. I'm not complaining. But when we think about some of these terms like God and goddess and, king and queen, what they truly mean, what they truly embody, you're taking the ultimate accountability. So now, if you're a god or you're a goddess, you can't be out here talking about, I'm so oppressed or we're so oppressed. Huh? Who can oppress a god? Right? Are you not in control of your mind? Are you not in control of your immediate surroundings? Are you not in control of more than that? Are you not capable to create your reality? Because this is ultimately what we're talking about. So, what is oppression then? The only fight any of us have here is ignorance. Period. Once we are not ignorant of an aspect of ourselves, because everything here is a reflection of us, right? Nothing is alien to that. There's nothing that exists outside of ourselves. So, what does this represent spiritually? How does this play a feature in our role? Form denotes function. So, when we talk about knowing thyself, the more we know exactly how all of our intricacies work, what is there left to question?
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Yeah. This has definitely been a very enlightening and powerful conversation. I hope people I hope people really I hope people can really just take the time to listen, because I think there's a lot of gold nuggets of truth here, and I think there's a lot of power in all this. Um, even today, there's a lot of power in today. Um, today is a powerful day. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. And yeah, that's all I can really say. I guess it's been an interesting day, to say the least. Um, yeah, I've been just been really doing a lot of spiritual stuff today, and really getting things ready for a lot of for next year. And I'm excited. I'm thoroughly excited, and definitely excited to see what the next 5 years brings. I know we're only going into another year, but you know, I'm excited. I think it's going to be interesting, and I hope everybody else is excited just as much as I am.
I think the fireworks are already going off. I think somewhere, I know, um, in the East, it is already 2024. So we're still shifting through that portal, and it is truly going to be exciting. It is a privilege. I think about all the people we have lost in the physical this year, and I give them love, peace, and power and respect in the astral, and thank them for their contributions. I thank those who are coming back, for even making that choice is extremely striking, and it earns my complete and total respect in this day and age. And I look forward to all of the beautiful reflections that are to come. I thank you for honoring me by allowing me into this space, allowing me to speak to your listeners. It has been a absolute honor. I look forward to possibly doing it again. And um, I cannot thank you enough for the opportunity to speak on this New Year's Eve.
Absolutely, brother. You're more than welcome to come on anytime you want. All you got to do is just say, "Hey, let's do a video or let's do a show, whatever." Boom, done. And also, if you guys want a personal grimoire, you need to go down in the link. or the description, I'm gonna have Khalil's links in the description, his link tree, and you can find him all everywhere you need to find him, and the proper ways to get a hold of him, and get your grimoire, guys. You might learn something about yourself, and I'm sure that you would. Um, Knowledge is power, right? So I really hope that this video found you guys well, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting 2024 Year of the Dragon. Number 8, you heard it here first from Khalil himself. Buckle up. It's gonna be an exciting ride. Um, I send everybody much love, many blessings, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Do you have anything else you want to put out there, Khalil?
I want to thank you again, truly, for the opportunity. I want to encourage people to visit the Telegram. Um, if you, if anyone who may be curious, who may not necessarily have the funds, I only charge $63 for my readings. You will see a lot of people charging hundreds and thousands of dollars, and that absolutely disgusts me. The current um, environment for people of this profession has become repugnant, truly, truly ugly. And I want to be a reflection again of the change I want to see. So, for anybody who may not be able to afford $63, send me a message. I like to read people for free. Um, and there's no need to ever, anybody who really wants to know that authenticity, that genuineness, that love is going to come across, and I'll recognize it every time. Um, but if you are looking for a digital library, by all means, join the link tree and come on Telegram. And if you're looking for a book, 9 times out of 10, I've got it, and you can get it for free.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, guys, you heard it here first. Hit that link in the description, and also the link for the Ronin experience. We've already had the 2/3 on. Gonna have to get the whole the whatever. You guys get the point. But anyways, um, yeah, I'll be looking forward to that, and I hope you all have an amazing new year. Many blessings, much love, and if you're not subscribed, if you feel called to subscribe, hit that button. We'll see you in the next one.